Hi, Lily.
Excellent. I'm so glad you were able to make it.
Yes, so happy I was able to make it.
Had such a beautiful day today too.
Yeah, I'm just walking to the car from work.
How are you doing? How's your mom? How's everything?
Thank God. I mean, she left the ICU today. She's gone to the normal ward. Um,
Amazing.
yeah, so good news. But still, like, there's lots to, like, it doesn't end there.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Sabrina, welcome. I'm so glad it worked out.
Hi. Sorry, I'm
Hey.
trying to make my AirPods work, but they're not. So I'm like, I have them in. Not for the right place.
Right. So, and that we heard you good until then, and then when you switch something, it stopped being so good.
No, now it's good. Now it's better. Okay.
Okay, good.
Right?
Yeah. I'm gonna give it like 4 minutes to give hopefully some more people a chance to get on because people are very excited about this topic. So we'll see what happens. Otherwise, it will just be us and they'll watch the recording, which is also good. I've been in that place myself. It's hard to get on a Zoom these days. Like there's a certain amount of like exhaustion. So let's take a second. I'm happy to answer questions. First of all, congratulations for everybody's participating and tracking. Like big deal, Sarah, especially, who's been sharing the tracker. Does it feel different when you're tracking, even if we know it might not be perfect, but does it feel different when you're tracking?
Yeah, definitely. It is. It's like, then I think I'm going to eat something, and I'm like, oh no, then I'm going to have to track it. So I may as well not eat it. It's not for everything, though. It's not every time, but
does it feel even more in control when you are making a choice of something that isn't as like, let's say, what might be considered a treat or something that you might feel some conflict about? Does it help to get more clarity when you write it down?
can you repeat that?
Does it feel more like you're owning your choices when you write it down?
Maybe not so much because I track only at the end of the day.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't
So-
track during the day.
I definitely found that I cared more about the correlation between eating and writing it down when I was writing it down as I ate. But I'm trying to be really good, even though I'm not right now. I don't know why. I was really in the habit, and then I guess October 7th and the kids being home and then the move and whatever, I'm finding it so hard to get back to those habits, harder than it was to implement them the first time. The first time seemed a lot easier, actually. And now I'm just like wavering around trying to recommit and finding it really hard.
So from my experience with myself and with a lot of other people, I would say, first of all, you should know that that's very normal. When we're trying to reconstitute an old habit, we kind of want to like drive on the exact same path we did it last time. And so when we're deviating from that, it doesn't feel like we're doing it right. And so we have like more resistance. When you're doing it for the first time, you're like, yeah, it's first of all, there's newness, there's exciting, there's a sense of accomplishment. Going back to an old habit, you don't have those motivators. What I have found that really helps is sometimes using a different tracker, using a different paper to start, or doing it on, if I used to do it on my phone, do it on paper. If I used to do it on paper, do it on my phone. Making like it a different but same habit
Right.
helps at the beginning. Also setting a time of day or like putting it in the group, knowing I have to share it and not just track it for myself, always makes me have to be more self-aware, because it's not just that I have to understand why I did it. I want to make someone else understand. So I'll take better notes in my tracker. And for clients as well, when they know that I'm going to see it or they're going to have to tell me about it maybe a week from now, they'll write more notes because they want to remind themselves of what was
Of
going
what happened
on today.
So I have a new tracker that's totally different. That like I was using the 2B trackers before, I think I enjoyed them more. They're just more of a pain in the butt to get for me. I like the book. I don't like that whole I printed it out and put it in like a spiral binding or like I know it works, but like I just don't like it as much.
Mhm.
I think the last
If
few
you
months.
need, just letting you know, my husband is in America for another 2 weeks. So I just sent him a bunch of Energize for me. If you wanted him to bring a book back, I could give you the address and you could just send it.
I'm so amazed that you're ordering like food things right before Pesach, Lily, and like that.
Just Energize, just Energize,
I'm
and
always like, I'm almost out of protein powder. Wait, no, Pesach's coming up. I'll just wait. It's okay.
I'm out of coffee. Okay, I haven't bought more
That
coffee.
I wouldn't wait. No, that I won't wait for. No,
I
no, no.
cleaned my fridge today. I'm like, I have to clean my fridge before I go to the grocery store because I can't buy anything new
You cleaned your fridge for Pesach already?
today. But you have to remember, we're gluten. I clean it and then I have to do it again later. But now it's like everything that goes in will already be like I don't have to worry about all the new stuff that I buy, that everything is gluten-free and kosher for Pesach. When I was in the grocery store last week, everything was already kosher for Pesach in the grocery store. So I want to do my
Wow.
pantry before I go to the grocery store tomorrow so that everything
So
like
I'm just closing everything up. I put like a pile of stuff that's on my island and I close everything up. I have one cabinet in my kitchen that I haven't put anything in. I'm like, okay, that's becoming Pesach.
Yeah,
I'm the same.
Right? Like I just close everything up. I clean things,
Yeah.
but then I like close it. I don't really throw anything out unless it's like mostly empty and gross.
So I don't have to throw anything out. First of all, we don't have a lot of gluten in my
Right.
house. So because I have 3 celiac kids. So like we're just finishing off the last stuff. And most of it isn't actual chametz. So
Right.
like I'll just put it all on one shelf and close it up. But all the new stuff I'm gonna buy, like I don't want to have to buy another one. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna clean those shelves so that anything new I buy can be already like still used on Pesach. But anyway, I think we're gonna get started, guys, because I respect
Can
your
I just ask one question though?
Of course.
Who's Lily's assistant and who's Lily the autopilot?
Oh, did the autopilot come in? Okay. Yeah, I have Lily's assistant is this AI that records the call and takes the notes for me. And autopilot is the other free trial that only does transcripts. And I've been debating which one to stick with. So they're both, and then they will both leave. They are not people.
So they're not humans.
They're not human. They're artificial intelligence so that I can keep better track of when I run calls.
Okay.
But thank you for asking. Okay. So we're going to start. So we're going to review. Some of you guys already know this, but for everybody who isn't here with us live, who's going to watch the recording, and for you guys who are here, it's super important to review all the time. In our, kind of preview of what I do in my group coaching program, the Thrive Well Shabbat Blueprint, one of the things that we talk about is how to push through, how to be consistent, how to have a really healthy relationship with food when things are easy, when things are tough, when you need soft, when you need push. And we've been talking about that a lot this week. And so one of the best trainings, in my opinion, things that's really a game changer is checking in with your needs and knowing what the basic human needs are that everyone has so that it'll help you know, do I need to be a little softer or a little more pushy to keep myself together? So there are 6 human needs. And as women, if we aren't meeting them where they're meant to be met, they can tend to spill into our food. We end up meeting them with food. I'm lonely, I'm gonna eat. I need a vacation and everything is boring. I'm gonna make a new recipe and a new food. Like, I'm really frustrated and I feel unsafe and like I don't have enough money or I don't have enough support. Food is always there for me, okay? It's not that we're conscious of always doing these things, but it's cultural, it's psychological, it's also on a nervous system level. When your needs aren't being met, you carry a certain amount of tension in your body. And food is something that has been historically used and is available. And mostly women, we tend to be more in charge of the food. Not in everybody's house, but in many homes, women are in charge of the food associated with food gifts. It's just really comes up a lot when it comes to our needs. So the more that we get clear and we start to bring this language up to ourselves, like, whoa, like which of my needs are a little bit unmet right now, we can start to become more confident. And whenever we're feeling really blah and like, I don't know what I need, and I don't know why I'm not finding my zone, it tends to be that we need to figure out what's going on with us. And once we figure it out, I'm not going to name names. You can feel free to name yourself if you want, but somebody in the group had mentioned, like, I really need a vacation. And until she figured out she really needed a vacation, she felt like her eating was more all over the place. Once she knew she needed a vacation.
Is that me?
Yeah, that was you. Like, you did such a good job of all of a sudden talking it out for yourself and being like, so I can't do this and I can't do this, but I can do this, and then I can do this, and I can get a vacation this way.
Right. I think also it had to do with this idea of like drudging along, and it feels like there was this feeling of like, oh my goodness, I'm never going to get a break. Like, it's just the same thing this day, then this day, then this day. And I keep trying to make things easier for myself. And I'm like, nothing is ever getting I just want to sleep.
Yeah.
And yeah. I actually, like, I recently spoke to my husband about it. I'm like, we need to discuss this because I need a vacation. And then like yesterday, he's like, okay, I think we really do need a vacation. I'm like, really? Yes.
Yeah. But the second that you name your need, no, we live in the real world, okay? We don't live in magic castles where I know my need and magically the vacation is here tomorrow and I'm on, like, you know, the beach in Belize. But once you know what you need, you can start pursuing it, and it gives you a sense of confidence. And once you feel more confident, you also feel more
purposeful.
Yeah, what?
Purposeful.
Yeah, purposeful.
Like,
and
in
then
your actions.
For eating and your actions, and you're pursuing something, and that creates motivation. And then gratitude, okay? The more that we're in fear, the more we want to like surround ourselves with like the stuff that makes us feel safe. And our body is a little bit that way too. Chemically, when we're in fear and stress and our body's releasing more cortisol, we're gonna retain more weight. We cannot be in fear and scarcity at the same time we're in gratitude and appreciation. They just simply, we can't, those are two things that we cannot hold at the same time. And I know people talk a lot about, hey, I can hold negative and positive feelings at the same time, and it's true. But two feelings that don't go together is frustration and appreciation, okay? You can't actually feel both of those at the same time. You can feel one and then the other and then one again, but they're not ones you hold at the same time because they're really polar opposites, okay? And frustration is almost always looking at that same glass and seeing it half empty, while appreciation is looking at that glass and seeing it half full. And so it's a real skill that what we need to keep our motivation up. So what I'd love is, I know, Sarah, you're driving. Are you driving or you stopped?
No, I'm driving. I'm just at the traffic light.
Okay. So since we only have two of us here, I'm going to say the needs, and I'm going to use different words to describe them. And then I'm going to pause. I'm going to let you guys tell me what word resonates with you, because every single person has all 6 needs, like every single human being. And they've tested this across cultures, globally, men, women, children. They might be in a different order of priority. Everybody has his needs, but in our mind, we call them different things, okay? So certainty, that you can avoid pain and gain pleasure. So that can be comfort, that can be safety, certainty, could be, you know, that feeling of calm, that feeling of being comfortable in your skin, comfortable in your environment, able to anticipate, feel safe with other people. You can anticipate their reactions. It can mean feeling accepted and love on a safe level. It can be feeling monetarily safe, right? Like, so I'm curious, when I say certainty or any of these words, what resonates for you? What words come up for you?
I think all of them for me.
Mm-hmm.
All the ones you just said. I think that's definitely one of the 6 basic human needs that like I gravitate towards more like needing is probably certainty, and then maybe after that, like I'm reading it and it's probably like significance. It's like those two, the idea of like feeling like you're needed, but also feeling like you have some, what's the word? I guess it's like some control over your life, and feeling like you're, or maybe that life is controllable or controlled. That
Control is a great, is also a certainty word for sure. Sarah, what kind of resonates with you?
So for me, it's like stability, like just
Stability.
things are, yeah, I think that's like the most.
Yeah.
I can't explain like I think safety and comfort also would be what resonates with me.
Yes.
Yeah, knowing things are like, on the one hand, not boring, but they like
predictable.
Exactly.
So that's great. Now, first of all, for women, not every woman, many women's certainty is higher than uncertain. Most women, like 90% of women, have certainty pretty high on their priority list. Okay, it's like psychological, right? It's just historical. It is.
It gives you a sense of stability. It gives you a sense of knowing that you're taken care of and that you can take care of others. And I think that that's really a very feminine quality. And it's funny because the next thing you have on the list is uncertainty and variety. And I don't mind variety, but the uncertainty part, I'm like, no. Like right away, my initial response is like, no. Like back away. I don't want that.
Men tend to be much more driven by uncertainty in that they want the potential. They want to go after the unknown. However, women also, we like, you know, new outfits, new clothes. We like the variety of it, right? So uncertainty is romance versus not romance as in love and connection romance, but like the feel of something new. First date, new outfit, new vacation spot, new food, new baby, like new milestone. Who doesn't love achieving a new goal or a new milestone?
So that's actually really funny that you say that, like new baby goes in uncertainty, because I feel like in general, especially for women, when you have more than one kid, while you're so happy about expecting another child, there's also so much stress about, oh my God, how are our lives going to change? How are the other kids going to handle it? And I feel like, I mean, maybe it's just my husband, but I don't feel like he felt those feelings. I feel like it was just like, oh, we're having a baby. And I'm just like, yeah, but what's that mean for those two? like right away, my mind's connected to, and what else does that mean?
Yes.
And his was just like, we're having a baby. We're still just having a baby.
Yes, exactly. So while men have a higher need, we still have a need for variety, right? Like everybody can be like, give me a menu plan. You get a menu plan. You love it. You start to lose weight. And then you're like, I can't eat this food. It's so boring. Right? I can't.
Or
I need more variety.
Okay. Or I don't want to eat that meal when you told me to eat it.
Right. Exactly. Right. Like we need a balance of certainty and uncertainty. And when we can feel what we need a little more, like, oh, I need a little uncertainty right now. I got to go and like look up some new recipes, or my life is really uncertain right now. And so I actually want certainty in my food so that I can deal with the uncertainty out there instead of just putting that onto my plate.
That's a very interesting concept.
And you're going to see that with all of these needs have a mirror, except for the last two, okay? And so sometimes, you know, when things feel very uncertain out there, we get very uncertain about ourselves and about all of our behavior versus leaning into the certainty. And that can be both push and soft. Push certainty would be like, I'm making a menu plan. I'm sticking to it. I'm being very concrete and deliberate. Soft is I'm prepping my food. I'm making a few dishes to have in advance, but it's not so rigid. Okay.
So can I ask a question about the soft and push, or is that like irrelevant?
Please go ahead.
All right. You were talking about it like at the end of last week, early this week. And what you just said, I think, just out of curiosity, when I started this whole thing, like last year, before we even started the group thing, like after my mom died, right after Shabbat ended, and I like really, I felt like I was in push mode. But what you just said really like clicked with me that I probably really wasn't, because I didn't have like a menu plan where I was like this, this, and this. It was more like I commit to eating 3 healthy meals a day. I commit to drinking like 5, liters of water. Does that count as push, or is that
No, that's soft. That's soft, and that's why we need soft in order to be consistent. Because when we want to be in push and we start being too rigid, that's great when we want that and we're emotionally and physically capable environmentally of doing it. But when we're not, we will lose all consistency if we don't have a soft option. If we don't have a way to be consistent, but without the rigidity, with a little more flexibility.
So maybe that's part of my issue these days, is I keep trying to force myself into like this push mode, but I don't know if I really, like, now that you're saying it, I don't know if I was ever really in the push mode. I was just seeing a lot of consistency, and that was giving me great results. And I'm like, okay, maybe that's where I have to go back to.
I think that's a great insight that you had.
Okay.
Okay, Sarah, I know you're here, but you're on, you're just not.
I just have to put the phone down because I've got 2 hot sitting on the dashboard. So.
No problem, no problem. So when it comes to uncertainty or variety, where do you see that need come up for you?
So, like, for example, I mean, thank you, Sabrina, yesterday for the pizza malawach thing on cauliflower.
Was that malawach? I thought it was pizza crust. I'm so confused now.
No, it's malawach. Well, it's supposed to be malawach. Yeah. It just was really good. And I'm like, I've been looking for new. I do remember that the big pull, I think, of to be in the beginning, I absolutely loved it. I loved the different way of eating. I loved the fact that I could eat so much and still lose weight. And it's because I was making, I don't know, like the mushroom pizza cups, and I was making like all different cool, weird recipes, which I would have never in my life tried. But I've just kind of defaulted to not making those things anymore. And I think the variety definitely does it for me. The new foods, the new recipes, I've just kind of slotted into meal prep where I just put things in the freezer and then just like take out, let's say, protein and have it with salad, and which is fine, but I'm like bored.
Yeah, that's where I am right now too.
Yeah. It's like literally looking
of making variety. Like I'm making new salads and I'm making something new every few days because I know I need it. Like,
right. So I feel like I'm just overwhelmed with like toddlers, that like with a toddler really. So like I feel like I don't have the ability to do that anymore, even though she's in gun. I feel like I'm overwhelmed at kitchen time. I don't know how old your kids are, Sarah, but like I felt like I was doing all these great recipes before, and then I don't know what happened.
But you can get variety at any stage. So like, let's say you can be just adding a new salad topping or just a new dressing, right? Like again, instead of push and I have to make a lot of new recipes, so like soft, I need some more variety. What's the easiest way? You did it already, bought a new product, a new bar, a new shake recipe. Like one new thing can like get the ball rolling, even a new seasoning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm also like sick of my roast veggies in the oven. So I've been putting the same thing on them for 3 years. Need to find something new. Yeah. So my kids, I mean, my baby's like 2.5, but I work.
Oh, so mine's also okay.
Yeah, I work basically full time. So it's like just doing what's easy, quick and easy. Which is why, like, I usually meal prep on a Friday when I'm cooking for Shabbat, and I don't cook the rest of the week.
So we're in the same place, Sarah.
Yeah. But again, even when you do that, like when I reheat my leftovers, just putting it with a new vegetable, like I cook mostly on Friday and like Shabbos, and then I maybe do one new thing during the week, but not really. But last night I just made a new pan of roasted vegetables to go with the chicken. It made a whole difference with
So this week I thought I made so much food for Shabbat because normally I do that also. And I had this family over and they have 2 teen boys, plus you add my 2 teen boys, and all of a sudden there's like nothing left. And I was just like, oh, I guess like maybe one of us has dinner for Sunday night. And then I ended up coming up with a bunch of new ideas this week, and I do feel much better and much less stuff. I generally like do the same thing. I meal prep like Friday, and then like I get to maybe Monday, Tuesday, and I make a bunch of salmon, and then that takes us until Thursday. And it's like, but now I'm just bored of chicken or salmon. It's like chicken or like, what are we having this week? Chicken or salmon. So I'm saying this out loud because I thought maybe it's helpful for Sarah, but like, I think it was Monday night, you know, those like mini burgers that you can get that are frozen, the ones that are all beef, not like the ones that have other added stuff. I defrosted those. I put them in a sheet pan, and I just cut up like a pepper, some broccoli, and whatever else you've got like that you want to get rid of in your fridge, like that's in your fridge going bad. I roasted the whole pan all together for like 20 minutes, and everyone loved it. I made a side of like whole wheat couscous for the kids if they wanted to put like their burger or kebab, whatever you want to call it, like on top of that. And I felt really actually full with this.
Amazing.
And then like adding the other leftovers for Shabbat really helped.
Perfect example of like a small thing that you're already doing. And then once you concretize it, is that's what I'm doing. Oh, that's what works. It helps you get back to the flow. A lot of times we're doing things right, and our brain is telling us we're not doing it right enough. And once we know that, like, hey, no, this is working, this is right enough, we can relax, and all of a sudden we open up a lot more brain bandwidth. So the next one is significance. Feeling unique, feeling essential, feeling special, feeling needed. This also includes feeling seen and heard and validated. Not feeling like your needs are being gaslighted, not feeling like you're not getting appreciated for carrying the mental load, or, you know, all the million things you do for everybody that nobody is saying thank you for on an average day. Okay. All of that is significance. Okay. It's feeling like you take up space, and not like, how can I do everything in the smallest way possible to not inconvenience anybody else. Right? So what's resonating for you about just where you find that you have that need for significance?
I mean, for me, I think it's at work. It's very important to feel like I'm contributing and look at my contribution. And also, just because when doing washing and doing all of this shit, you know, it's like, and I mean, if I don't do it, no one does it. No one else is going to do it, so I need to do it. So I keep every so often, I like say to them, guys, like, you need to help me here. And it's like they only see that I'm doing it when either I complain about it or it's not done. I don't know really where I'm going with that, but it's just like, I need
frustrating.
them to, I'm doing it. Frustrating. Yeah. I need them to see that I'm doing it, or maybe do it to be able to understand how frustrating it is. Exactly.
I remember once in a conversation we were talking about, you know, women who sometimes we feel like really good at work, and then we get home and like at work you get recognized for your efforts, and at home like you're not recognized for your efforts.
Exactly.
And, you know, it can lead to, especially in the evening, trying to give yourself a treat, trying to treat yourself, maybe like feeling like you're a little more snacky at night because you're rewarding yourself and trying to acknowledge your own efforts during the day. Just one way that it might show up.
It also comes in the afternoon sometimes, where I just couldn't be bothered to face anything or anyone or the kids, or do like dinner or anything, and then I just eat to avoid it. But I mean, I still have to do it. So
it's figuring out how to meet that need for significance in a more constructive, non-food related way. Whether it's like making a list of like, and just thanking yourself. You know, this is a lot of somatic healing can come in for women. Like, you know, there's a lot of things that you can do because it's a nervous system level thing. When these needs aren't met, our nervous system takes them as a threat. We could be perfectly happy in our marriage, but if we're never feeling like that's being validated, there's a threat level that you're feeling in your body at all times. On top of the fact that Jewish people are in a war, every other threat level we're experiencing, these things, when these needs aren't met, your inner alarm system is aware of that. And the more that's a mental and emotional and physical energy drain. Okay. So that, Sarah, I'm sorry, Sabrina, anything you want to say about significance?
I definitely, that's again one of the ones that I actually like probably lean closest to. I think I really enjoy feeling needed. I mean, I agree that like sometimes it's really frustrating. Like you feel like men just don't have this concept that like things have to get done for things to stay nice. You feel like I feel like I have to babysit all the people in my house basically. And it's really frustrating, but at the same time, I really take pride in like my home being a certain way and feeling like people can come over, or showing up to work. Like I love feeling needed with clients. Usually I think it's not like a source of frustration so much for me, but like more just annoyed that I feel like sometimes I give so much and I don't always feel like people give back. Not in a professional sense, obviously. That's more in a non-professional sense. I will say the one thing I try really not to do is be in my kitchen after my 2.5-year-old goes to sleep. Because I think once that happens, it's like a snowball effect.
For sure.
Like if I go in, it's like make a cup of tea and then like leave. If I go in there, I might snack on whatever my husband has open. I have no self-control past a certain time.
Yeah, I like to say I can't also speak Hebrew past 8 p.m. Connection.
I speak Hebrew before 8 p.m. You have to be like me. I can't speak Hebrew.
Connection and love. So this also for women tends to be higher than men. Of course, men need connection and love, but in terms of our relationship with food and when this need is not met in a more constructive way, women have food tend to be more accessible, although I have seen it with men clients. When you don't have that strong feeling of closeness, union with somebody that you love, when something is off in your intimate relationship, very often it's mirrored as something off in your food and you can't fix it with food. And so it's just something that the more that we get awareness on, the more we will look out for, what am I really feeling right now? Am I really feeling hungry, or am I really feeling like lonely? Am I really feeling hungry, or am I really feeling a lack of intimacy with my spouse? Am I really feeling hungry, or am I annoyed that we aren't going on dates at night and like he's here in the house and I'm in the house, but I don't want to be in the same room as him, and there's conflict. And I've just seen this in so many relationships. Please don't feel like we need to share anything too personal here. It is recorded for our community, but I see it across the board in small, innocent ways, and also in deeper ways where weight isn't coming off. And someone's walking around like, I'm hungry all the time. And then when my husband's around, it's like much worse. Go ahead, Sabrina. So you want to pass.
So it's interesting you said that, because I was thinking about it. I'm like, I really want to do a date night. Like I know you have like your husband date night when he's in town, I guess. Yeah. Like a regular thing. And I know someone else who does it also, and they love it. I always feel like I'm so exhausted. And then I was like thinking about it. I'm like, I really want a date night, but the truth is that I feel like we're so burnt out, both of us, that even like a date night is like gotten to the point of insignificance. Like it's just not enough. So I actually looked at my husband the other day. I'm like, okay, 3 things I want. I want a vacation, just me for 48 hours, like alone with nobody, like done. I want a vacation with the whole family for 5-6 days. I don't know if I'm willing to commit to being on a boat or anything with my family for more than that. I love them, but they're much easier to cope with at home. And number 3, I was like, and maybe if we can find someone to stay overnight with the baby, because that's actually the most important person that needs to be like watched. we could go away for like 2 days, just me and my husband. Because I'm like, when we're away with the kids for 6 days, that's not going to feel like a vacation for us to connect, because we're going to be chasing a 2-year-old and switching off and on, like playing tag, you're it, you know? And when I'm away, obviously it's not going to feel like a vacation for him or a connection at all. And I was like, I think we kind of need like all three of these things at this point, because we have not spent one night away from our kids, like as a couple, or me at all, since I've been pregnant with my first.
So at 10 years, I had an intervention by one of my best friends who is she's a psychologist therapist, and for our 10-year anniversary, and they went away as a couple all the time together. We were talking at a Shabbat table, and I said, we've never been away from our kids overnight. Like we don't have any family here. We don't have any parents to come take care of our kids.
Exactly.
And she said to me, I'm taking your kids, your wedding anniversary is in 3 weeks. You guys need to go away together. And once we like kind of broke the water balloon, we popped the water balloon. Since then, once a year, we do go away at least one night. And now that the kids are older and they can babysit the younger one, like at least twice a year. And part of the deal with them going on this trip was, we are going away for 2 nights when you get back, because I'll be honest, I am lonely. I feel like my bucket is empty. I need quality time is one of my love languages. I told you guys before you get on here, because loving connection is such an important one for women, we need, like, you really got to be aware of your love language. And my love language is quality time. So when he is gone for 3 weeks, I feel a big energy drain in general.
So I don't speak to, like, I speak to my husband on the phone maybe a few times a day. We talk to each other for maybe 10 minutes in total a day. I feel so burnt out at this point. But the truth is, I have 3 kids with special needs, including my 2 oldest, because I only have 3 of them.
Right.
I can't leave my kids with each other. And like you said, I don't have parents here. I don't have in-laws here. And honestly, even when we lived at home, like in New York with relatives nearby, we didn't trust any of them to stay overnight with our kids without us. And I still don't. I would rather hire someone to like be in my house,
right.
And that's fine. But like the truth is that it was just always just too much for us to even be able to handle planning it, and then financing like a babysitter on top of it to stay at home and all the other things. It just became like a crazy thing. But I think we've gotten to the point where it's like, I can't even spend time with people. I'm like, she goes to bed, I go to bed. Like, don't talk to me. And that's, I feel like on the one hand, it's a good place to know that that's what I need. And on the other hand, it's like, I shouldn't feel that burnt out all the time.
And this is where kind of going into the first thing that we talked about is the values is, and once you understand, okay, so what is the value that I need to get out of a date? Like everybody's in different circumstances, right? So for us, it's more of a financial issue. So we only could do it on points. So we only go places where we have points, and we go Thursday night and we come home before Shabbos. Like you have to figure out, like, you know, we had this conversation about ice cream once, right? Like I have just ice cream cravings all the time. So I said, well, it's really interesting. Like, you know, I always we're out and I just need ice cream. Like, oh, so you're looking for something cold? She's like, yes. And I always have to have something cold when I'm out in the summer and we're doing a trip or we're going anywhere. I always want it on the way home. I said, we're not saying never have ice cream. I'm just saying, like, why don't you experiment with as many different cold things as possible and see like what's the real need here? And she tried like getting a diet Sprite and getting a 10-calorie popsicle, and a bunch of things actually worked. And then in her mind, she could reorder, I really need something cold when I'm out. And so she started bringing frozen water bottles with her and like kind of change the dynamic. It's the same thing with a date night. You know, when we're in a financial situation that's more like less feeling secure that we're going out for a date, so we go out on a walk, you know, and we call it our date and we make sure we're getting the date elements, you know, on the walk. And so I truly believe that no matter what our circumstances are, there is a way to meet the need. And we know this, and this is part of the studying I've been doing since the war for myself, you know, being in Avelut and losing my mom, and also with all the trauma of the war, which is like, how are people even happy in like camps? are people even happy in like these like really difficult life circumstances? And it's because they are getting these needs met, but through their values and through finding small ways to start to meet these needs outside of food, because they certainly don't have access to food like we do to meet all these, to fill all these spaces. And so it's something that does take effort. And we do have to clean up some of the bandwidth, and which is why eating well and sleeping well and feeling a little better opens up some bandwidth to start to be like, where can my husband and I find something that we can with the money that we have, with the resources that we have, or pray for more, like what can we do to start to figure something out, which I think you did even just by having the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like that's huge.
No, and I also kind of figured out how we can financially do it. Like I figured out a lot of it. And I'm also willing to like make sacrifices. Like I wanted to do this huge big vacation. I'm like, you know what? I really don't know what's going to be in like August. I have no clue. But I'm sure we're not going to be in we might actually be in a different place than we are now as a country. I'm just not sure it's going to be in a better place, unfortunately. So I don't want to like, first of all, I don't want to book anything now, even though I normally would have. I would have been like, let's book it now so I have it to look forward to and whatever. Now I'm like, I don't want to book it now because I feel like there's so much uncertainty. I'd rather just like wait it out and see what happens. But I used to be like, I'm not going away unless it's like a 5-star hotel with housekeeping and it's amazing and whatever. And now I'm just like, okay, let's go on a cruise, no flights, get on the boat, get off the boat, like kosher meals. I just don't want to think. I want it to be automatic. I don't want to think about it, and I want there to be like activities provided. That's all I care about. I don't want to have to plan itineraries. I don't want to manage anything. I don't want to cook anything. I don't want to clean anything. A friend of mine was over and she's like, we booked someplace in August to go to Sophia. And she's like, we rented an apartment. I'm like, that's great, but like, who's doing your cooking for you? Like, there's like 2 kosher restaurants. Like, what are you doing? Like, I would be like so anxious about it. Like, where are my kids eating? What?
It sounds like a nightmare to go to an apartment
right?
and have to cook and clean and everything.
That's not a vacation.
No, it's not.
I said that. She thought that was crazy. But to be fair, her husband does love the cooking, so I guess that's not something she really has to worry about. But like, there are also people who have no problem like eating just like canned tuna for a week, and I'm happy that they're those people. Don't get me wrong, but that would not work for my family. Everyone would kill me.
Yeah.
So significance. Sorry, guys. Significance and loving connection.
I've got to go. I've got a call.
Okay.
So much for this.
No problem. I hope it was helpful. Okay, so we're just going to finish up with the last 2. And the last 2 are growth and contribution. And both of these are positive versus the other ones, which are all positive, but they are like, let's say, mirrors of each other, right? Like certainty and uncertainty, being the one versus being in a unit, you know, significance versus love and connection. Growth and contribution are individual, and we only open up space for them when the other 4 are met. But we have an opportunity now individually, now as a country, that once you go through a significant trauma in your life, or you have really difficult life circumstances, it's shown that if you can raise growth or contribution to higher on your priority list and use them, you can leverage them to meet many of your other needs. And that's where you see people, you know, who've lost somebody and they make it their mission, you know, like the woman who, you know, lost her son to a drunk driver and made it her mission in the world to contribute, to try to get the message about how dangerous drinking and driving is, and started MAD, you know, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. And we can see it now in our own country, women who have lost children in the war, who have become advocates, women who survived the Nova Festival, who are worldwide speaking, who are using growth and contribution to meet a lot of needs that would otherwise go unmet right now. And so it's something to think about when we're feeling super depleted and a lot of other things are not available to us. Putting a bigger mission can really change the whole dynamic. Sabrina, what do you think?
I think that I understand what you mean. I'm just not sure how it applies without that aspect of like trauma.
Mhm. So in any situation, you know, we all, as mothers and as women specifically, we are like the head of a family. So when we take, I need to take care of myself so that I can really be there for my family. I need to take
Okay, so that I understand.
myself so that it's more than just about the result I see on the scale. It's more than just the result I see from these workouts. I want that, and that's okay. That's certainty. You want results from what you're doing. That's totally
It's the idea of
cool.
self-care being part of selflessness.
Yes,
It's not about being selfish.
exactly.
Got it.
And when we get there, we can always find the soft or the push place to show up. Even if the soft place is saying, I'm going to bed at 7 p.m., you guys need to finish the kitchen and whatever it's going to look like, I accept when I get up in the morning today. Like, whatever that is, it's coming from that place of self-care for selflessness. Exactly.
Got it.
And so,
So that I understand. That I
and
relate
so
to.
exactly. And so to do that on a personal level, we have to always be looking to grow. And that means whether it's, okay, what skill do I not have right now? Like, there's so many times where you hit a wall and you hit a plateau and you look at it like it's not a plateau, it's a down elevator. Like, you are just going to spiral all the way down to the darkest place. You're not, you're at a plateau, at a high place. You've climbed many mountains in your life. So yes, you might be at plateau, but what if this plateau is a schoolroom? What if this plateau is a class? And there's a lesson here. And the second you, like, you know, find
It's a
your,
step to the next place.
then you get to go to the next place. But a plateau is really a pause to still be soft, to still take steps. You still have to be, if you just lie down on that plateau, you won't have the strength to go up the mountain anymore. You have to maybe like work on your grip, or you have whatever it is you need to do. There's a reason you're paused to work on something.
Right.
And with that mindset, it's really much more helpful in terms of truly being consistent, because consistency gets results, and consistency doesn't look like looking the same every single day. It looks like showing up for yourself every single day and not taking days off of caring. Okay.
Right.
And that's where that contribution comes in, that even when we don't feel certain, how many times they say, like, you don't have any money, go give some charity, go find some like money in your couch. All of a sudden you feel a sense of like, no, I have, okay. Like, I know I don't have this and I don't have this and I don't have this. I have something. I can buy food. Like, I have something.
Actually, that's funny. That's actually one of my things, that at a time of uncertainty, when I'm like, you know, whether it's with business or whatever, my thing is always that if something pops up to give tzedakah, that's what I do. And it's this idea in faith, like, that if I have enough to give, I have to, like, in order to give, you have to be open enough to receive.
Yes.
And if you're closed off from giving, you're closed off from receiving.
Exactly. And so we'll end with this. And this is, as you know, because you participated in the Thrive Well Shabbat Blueprint, this is the kind of stuff we talk about. And yes, we talk about practical strategies. We talk about very practical tools. And we talk about making the effort to be consistent, but all with mindsets and education and knowledge to put it in a vision of your future. So it's something you're going to work on with other women for 12 weeks, but it's something that then you're going to work on for the rest of your life. And thank you so much, Sabrina, for being on and participating. And I look forward to seeing you in the group and seeing how things continue to progress today.
Thank you. Thank you for reminding us about the group. I had no idea this was happening today.
Bye.
Bye.